Hello everyone, my name is Megan and I'm 22. Recently I was disgraced by my entire college. But nevertheless, I was able to get out of it and avenge my shame. Now, someone has to look for a new college because he can't wash away the dirt I poured on him. It all started on a normal day. I was in class and we were taking a test, so all the students were sitting in absolute silence. Suddenly, I heard some of my classmates start whispering and looking at me. A couple of minutes later, the whole class was looking at me and laughing. The teacher even had to make a remark. Anyway, I passed the test and went out into the hallway for a break. As I was walking to my locker, I kept receiving strange looks. People pointed at me and laughed. I felt terribly uncomfortable because I didn't understand what was going on. Like I was the hero of some movie or something like that. I soon realised what had happened. To be more precise, I saw the reason for their laughter. Someone sent my picture around campus. And I have to say that it was a very candid photo that was supposed to be for a private viewing only. It was meant for my boyfriend. You know, people just miss each other sometimes and... do I have to explain everything to you? Oh, I didn't expect so many people would see this. I was terribly ashamed and very angry. I had only one suspect in mind who could have done it. And at that same second, I went to him to figure it out. I thought it was Eric. He was my ex-boyfriend, and I thought he sent everyone the picture to get back at me. The fact is that we didn't break up very amicably. Actually, there was a huge scandal. We had dated for a few months, and one day I started to suspect that I wasn't Eric's only girlfriend. It was all about his classmate, Julia. He constantly helped her with her studies. They did science projects together and spent a lot of time with each other. At one point, he started using Julia as an excuse to not be with me. On top of this, I heard rumours that Julia had a boyfriend, but she was hiding who it was. I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but I put a couple of facts together and realised that they were more than just friends. So one day, when I went into the cafeteria and saw them together again, I literally went off the rails. I started yelling at him and insulting them both. We had a fight and broke up in front of the entire school. So I thought Eric was getting back at me for embarrassing him. And now, when I saw him in the hallway, my eyes immediately filled with anger. From the very beginning, I pushed him against the wall and made him confess everything. But Eric's answer surprised me. He said he would never do such a thing. Yeah, he was mad at me because of our fight, but he couldn't send out my photo to everyone, even if he wanted to. The fact is that recently he lost his phone and all the data was lost, including my photos. He said that maybe the phone was found by some stranger and that they were able to hack it and post the photos. It looked like he wasn't lying, especially since he did have a new phone. So I was left with nothing. I was walking home, completely broken. I was a laughing stock. Everyone pointed at me and joked. I just wanted to sink into the ground in shame. I literally ran home so I didn't have to hear these evil jokes at my expense. I just sat there and cried. What did I do to deserve this? And who could have done it? All this time, my phone was continuously receiving messages. Everyone was sending me this photo, coming up with captions, making memes with me. Just awful. But suddenly, a knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. It was Eric. I didn't want to see him, and I just wanted to slam the door in his face. But he had flowers in his hands, and he asked to be heard. Eric said that he still loved me, and that he was very sorry that this disaster had happened to me. So he came to me with an apology and wanted to support me. Yeah, well, I thought I could use a little support. Besides, I still had feelings for him too, and I wouldn't have wanted to part with him if it wasn't for that stupid Julia. So I let Eric in, and I had a good chat with him. I was even able to take my mind off of the problems for just a second. And at one point, he leaned over to kiss me. I felt warm and safe, and I reciprocated. I will omit everything that happened afterward. In short, Eric spent the night at my place, and in the morning, I felt like nothing bad had happened to me, and like it was all just a bad dream. But when I got to campus, it got even worse. It turned out that now a new photo was being spread around. It was another version of a photo of me from last night. The only thing is that I wasn't posing and smiling in this one. I was sleeping in a very compromising position. Oh my God, it was just awful. I just wanted to destroy Eric for what he did. But he said I deserved it because I left him in front of everyone. Liar, vile scoundrel. After 2 days of shame, the title of King of Losers got stuck to me forever, and there was nothing I could do about it. I can't tell you how bad I felt. Imagine that your deepest secret was discovered by absolutely everyone. The worst part is that even my friends turned against me. My best friend Linda stopped talking to me, and she didn't even want to sit at the same table in the cafeteria with me. In this situation, it was shameful to communicate with me, so I didn't get any support at all. There is some truth to the phrase, "A friend in need is a friend indeed." She left me when I needed support the most, and now I was all alone. I thought about going to the police, but this wasn't an option for me. Yes, they could have punished Eric, but it wouldn't change anything. It's already happened, and no one will forget these photos with me in them. In addition, I would have been very ashamed to turn to them with such a delicate matter. After all, they would have to look at these photos too, so I had to swallow my resentment. Everyone kept laughing at me for 3 months. It seemed to me that absolutely all the students tried to somehow Photoshop these photos and send them to me. I've seen dozens, no hundreds of jokes about me, but people weren't limiting themselves to just words. One day, I went to class and all the walls were covered with my photos. It was a sort of gallery of shame. Great prank, thank you. To be honest, I was already thinking about transferring to another college and starting over. But I had a chance to get back at Eric, and I was offered help by a completely unexpected person. It was Julia. Yes, this was the same Julia that my ex-boyfriend used to date behind my back. But she came with a white flag. It turns out that I wasn't the only one that Eric did bad things to. Julia told me that she saw Eric kissing another girl. And just so you understand, not just like friends. Oh yes, time passes and the scoundrel remains the same. Julia was very angry and wanted to punish him. Obviously we had the same goal, so we decided to unite against our common enemy, Eric. We had a slight advantage. Eric still didn't know that Julia had seen him with another girl, so he didn't know that our wrath would soon be upon him. Plus, there was a costume party coming up soon, so our plan came together, naturally. Julia invited Eric to her house to prepare for the party and said that she had a surprise for him. There really was a surprise. It was a party costume that was supposed to turn Eric into a Disney fairy. At first, he didn't want to wear it. But Julia was able to convince him to do it in a way that he couldn't say no to. Lustful bastard. So when Eric was lying on the bed in a very compromising position and in half of the dress, I quickly ran out of the closet and started shooting everything on my phone. Oh, you should have seen him at that moment. He was scared to death. His eyes were like bowling balls. He tried to take my phone away from me, but I ran out of the house. It was very easy to get away from him because he was wearing a dress and couldn't catch up with me. But the funniest thing happened a couple of minutes later. While Eric was chasing me, Julia threw all of his stuff in the trash and closed the door to the house. So Eric had to walk home across campus wearing just a dress and makeup. I saw him running down the main street from the window of my room, and everyone was laughing at him and taking pictures on their phones. It was a decent end to the evening and a great punishment for this filthy degenerate. The fun was just beginning. The next day, Eric came to class and was confronted with what I had been living with for the past few months. Yeah, everyone laughed at him and called him the tiny little fairy. Now his photos were all over the college chats, and now they were making memes with him. I have to say, I made most of them myself. It was my pleasure. The worst part is that then he started burying himself. Eric posted a video message in which he said that he was the victim of a prank by two crazy girls and ordered everyone to stop making fun of him. But this only provoked people even more, and they attacked him with renewed vigour. The prize for the best joke about Eric in a dress went to some unknown guys who posted the photo of him on the main screen during a basketball game. Oh, then the stands just exploded with laughter and applause. The title King of Losers has finally passed to Eric, and for several months everyone has already forgotten about me. I could finally breathe a sigh of relief, and I was just happy that my suffering was over. I hope Eric has learned an important lesson for himself. Private must remain private, and you should not betray the trust of your loved ones